Welcome back to Unapologetic Exotical content, where truth is snatched tighter than their lace fronts and delusion gets no PTO. And today's episode, oh baby, this one was requested by her. That supporter, that girl who lifts lace to new heights and leaves projection trembling in the corner. Sis wanted the full read with receipts, data, and delusion analysis. So here we are. We're diving deep into why mixed-race faces are not just admired, they're desired, duplicated, and quietly resented. And we're exposing the weird, loud deflections some unambiguous women use to cope with it. So grab your tea, secure your scalp, and keep your popcorn stocked, because today we're mixing truth and psychological warfare into one long overdue glow-up. So why do mixed-race faces create such a stir? Science chimes in with a validating answer: symmetry and genetic mixing. A recent cross-cultural study found that biracial faces are objectively rated higher on attractiveness, trustworthiness, intelligence, even career potential across US and Chinese observers. To say it simply, our brains give mixed features extra points. Why? It's the average effect in facial perception. When you blend two faces, the result tends to be more symmetrical and average, and that symmetry is inherently appealing to human eyes. Basically, your genes whisper, this person looks healthy and balanced. Let's swipe right. Let's break the science down real quick while we hurt some feelings. Symmetrical faces, slight asymmetry with balance, and heterozygosity, look it up, are all tied to perceived attractiveness. That's why genetically diverse people tend to have features that pop. It's not sorcery, it's science. Beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. It's in the blueprint of your parents' choices. If they copy-pasted the same features from the same shallow gene pool, you get a predictable look. And, baby, predictable doesn't trend. But when you mix up that gene cocktail and throw in a splash of variety, suddenly you've got cheekbones that could slice glass, a nose that knows its angle, and skin that does that golden hour glow even under fluorescent lighting. I know, it stings, because some of y'all are out here contouring features that others are born with. Drawing on nose bridges like your face is a connect-the-dots puzzle. Buying curl creams for wigs while mocking people whose hair grows that way naturally. If we're being honest, the most copied, envied, and filtered features on the internet are ambiguous features. The soft jawline with the defined edge, the feline eye shape with the slight hood, the full lips with no filler. Y'all really thought it was a coincidence that every beauty filter makes you look like a racially ambiguous TikTok baddie? Please, the algorithm has spoken, and let's not act brand new. Every time I walk into a room, it's like the insecurity detector goes off. The truth is, genetically diverse women disrupt delusion. We are the walking interruption. Because while y'all have been busy trying to gatekeep beauty and trying to rewrite standards to fit your face, nature already did the math, and we came out the equation. Let's talk about the obsession, the denial, the copy-paste cosplay. Unambiguous women will swear up and down that everyone is beautiful in their own way until a lighter-skinned, curly-headed, soft-featured woman walks in the room. Then suddenly it's, she thinks she's all that, or she's not even that pretty, she just looks different. The math ain't mathing, because if difference didn't matter, y'all wouldn't be out here contouring the bridge and tagging Ancestry.com under every selfie. Let's not forget the plastic surgery epidemic. If beauty was actually subjective like y'all pretend, why are y'all flying to Colombia to buy cheekbones and a jawline? Why are you asking for Lori Harvey's nose and ethnically ambiguous eyes if we're all allegedly on the same playing field? You don't see mixed women lining up to surgically widen their nostrils or tighten their curls to look more relatable. Because the truth is, this face is the blueprint. That's why it's duplicated on filters, magazine covers, and K-pop idols. Even celebrities whose DNA couldn't fill a teaspoon of spice want to look like they're racially mysterious. And let's not get started on the men. Men be chasing ambiguity like it's a coupon code on Father's Day. The same ones who yell "Black Queens Only" on Monday are DMing biracial women by Monday afternoon. Don't let the struggle slogans fool you. There's a reason all the women topping beauty lists look like they were made from international shipping labels. And you know who's really pressed? The ones who claim they're pro-black beauty, but wouldn't be caught dead outside without light foundation, lace, and fake edges that mimic the very features they mock. You say you love your nose, but your makeup routine says otherwise. You say your hair is a crown, but you stay gluing somebody else's texture on your scalp like your follicles offended you. You say Exoticals are overhyped, then go drop $400 trying to look like one on purpose. Make it make sense. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here existing, not begging, not adjusting, just walking in the room and triggering a monologue about we should all love ourselves, when the real issue is you can't figure out why yourself doesn't get the same reaction. Beauty isn't fair. It never has been. And the only thing uglier than jealousy is the hypocrisy that tries to disguise it as moral high ground. The we're all queens energy only shows up when Exoticals get attention. Suddenly we're shallow, confused, lighter-skinned pawns of white supremacy. But y'all weren't thinking about supremacy when you were bleaching, contouring, stretching, trying to be with Brad, and gluing your face together like a YouTube thumbnail. If you were secure, you'd let us live. But because we exist as the proof that beauty isn't subjective, and that genetic contrast creates desirable results, you gotta tear us down to feel even. But, baby, this isn't build a face. And you can't shame me into apologizing for my phenotype. I didn't ask for it. I was born with it. Like God looked at my parents' genes and said, let's do something elite today. And he did. But somehow, every time an exotical or mixed woman with striking features walks into the room, the whole narrative switches. Suddenly it's, well, beauty is subjective. Everyone is beautiful in their own way. Y'all just like Euro features? Ma'am, nobody was saying that when you were putting facial symmetry in your vision board. Y'all don't think beauty is subjective. You just think it should be more inclusive of you. And when it's not, you gaslight the world like it's an episode of Black Mirror. I'll never forget when I was younger with curls defined, bone structure doing geometry homework, and this girl had the audacity to say, you're only considered pretty because of Eurocentric features. I looked at her and thought, well, you're not considered pretty because you built like a weather blimp with Wi-Fi, hovering over the conversation but bringing absolutely nothing of value. Baby, don't float into my aura trying to deflate mine. Stay grounded. The gag is, most of the most envied women on the internet aren't even fully white. They're mixed, ambiguous, or blended with just the right amount of diversity to make their features unpredictable but balanced. And that unpredictability, that's what makes people stare. If beauty were subjective, the same 10 women wouldn't be dominating every top 10 hottest list for the last 2 decades. Truth is, they lie when they put unambiguous women on the top 10 hottest list. And we all know it. That's not attraction. It's affirmative action with a lace front. Also, you wouldn't see the same bone structure being praised in every race if there were no standards. The same bone structure is just painted in different undertones. And let's not forget the filters. Filters prove that y'all don't believe beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You believe it's in the cheek filler, lifted outer eye, softened jawline, and fake freckles. If beauty were subjective, y'all wouldn't have the same exact face on Instagram. You'd post raw, unfiltered photos of your unique look and let the beholders behold. Even dating apps prove this. Data from Tinder, OkCupid, and Hinge all show that certain facial types get swiped right more often. You know what doesn't get swiped right? The same people yelling, beauty is a construct in the comments. And don't get mad at me. Get mad at your parents' gene pool. Y'all are mad at reality because you're not winning in the beauty Olympics. But instead of accepting that beauty is ranked and always has been, you decided to rewrite the rules mid-game. You tell people it's what's inside that counts, and yet spend $600 on a face beat to make the outside do what the inside can't. Miss me. Y'all won't post without good lighting. You know beauty has rules. You just want to be the exception. And now here comes the projection. You think you're better because of how you look. No, baby, you think I'm better because of how I look. and you resent me for not pretending otherwise. That's not my ego. That's your inferiority complex doing the Cupid shuffle. If beauty really came in all shapes and sizes, why do y'all keep editing your shape and size? Why do inclusive beauty brands use ambiguous models with flawless skin and high cheekbones to sell that narrative? Because they know what moves product. And what moves product? Undeniable beauty, not wishful thinking. Beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. It's in the eye of the public, the lens of the camera, the swipe of the algorithm, and the thirst of the masses. Beauty is not democratic. It's a monopoly held by symmetry, glow, and good genetics. You don't have to like it, but you will acknowledge it. Researchers argue that biracial cues signal a successful genetic admixture. In evolutionary terms, that suggests ancestors who mated across groups formed strong coalitions, so we subconsciously trust them more. Creepy cool, right? When a face is attractive and ambiguous, folks start playing identity Jenga. In one study, white participants were shown mixed-race faces and rated them as more Caucasian than they actually were. Meanwhile, Chinese participants looked at those same faces and said, "Yep, definitely Chinese. Ma'am, he has curls, caramel skin, and lips that scream spice. But sure, claim him. It's not about facts, it's about psychological possession." Attractive ambiguity makes people territorial. They want to slap their identity on you, like a clearance tag, and keep it moving. It's giving, "She's cute, she must be ours." Not because they raised you, embraced you, or even liked you, but because your face is trending. And this is where things get deliciously hypocritical, because the same people who love to shame mixed folks for being confused, or not black enough, or too whitewashed, will turn around and claim you when your picture goes viral. Suddenly, your nose is ethnic enough, your curls are acceptable enough, your skin tone, inspirational, but let you say one thing they don't like and now you're just a light-skinned outsider with privilege. Oh, so I'm yours when I'm quiet and beautiful, but I'm not yours when I speak and disagree? Got it. I once had a woman say to me, "Well, technically you count as black because you don't even look white." Baby, I don't look white. I look rare. I look like my features were curated, not copied. Don't confuse your lack of range with my lack of whiteness. Just say you're uncomfortable with beauty you can't categorize and go. People don't want you to be yours. They want you to be theirs. That's the real issue. It's not about celebration. It's about ownership. Exoticals are treated like passports. Everyone wants to stamp us, but no one wants to sponsor the flight. It's aesthetic colonialism. If you're cute and racially ambiguous, everybody wants to assign you to a group. Black, white, Latina, Asian, who cares what your actual background is? The goal is to claim you before someone else does. Because if they can't date you, they want to at least be able to say, "She's from our side." It's the psychological equivalent of putting your coat on a chair at the club so nobody else can sit there. Meanwhile, we're just trying to exist, brush our existent edges, breathe. But no, here comes the ancestral drafting committee deciding what flag we're allowed to use this week. I've literally had people argue in front of me about what I really am, like I'm a bag of trail mix with no label. She gotta be Puerto Rican. Nah, she look Belizean. She just has good hair. She's biracial, you can tell by the cheekbones. Why do I have to be anything you recognize just to be accepted? You don't even know what country your own people came from, but you're trying to trace my genome off vibes? No, ma'am. And let's talk about how this claiming is never consistent. If you're a mixed woman going viral for your beauty, every group wants to throw you in the cart like you're on cultural Amazon Prime. But if you're mixed and discussing racism, colorism, or privilege, now suddenly you're not qualified to speak. So let me get this straight. You want me to represent your group as long as I keep my mouth shut, play pretty, and serve face without commentary. But the second I say something you don't like, I'm too diluted to matter. Got it? That's not identity. That's exploitation with a smile. That's why being exotical is a full-time job. Because you're constantly being recruited by people who don't want to know you. They want to use you. For clout, for representation, for defense when someone calls them out. I had a girl tag me in a comment war one time like I was her racial support animal. Well, my friend is mixed and she agrees with me. First of all, I don't know you like that. Second, don't tokenize me because your opinion has no legs. If your point needs my DNA to stand, your argument is already paralyzed. And don't get me started on the "but she's one of us" nonsense. That phrase sounds sweet, but what it really means is, we don't know where she belongs, but we want to control the narrative. And the only time this logic ever gets flipped is when the exotical starts winning. That's when the claws come out. That's when the same people who claimed you suddenly need you to humble yourself. That's when they start nitpicking your features, questioning your background, pulling up expired census data like, well, technically she's only 23% this. Baby, y'all didn't need receipts when you were using my face to sell your agenda, but now that I have a platform, now you need proof of purchase. Cute. What they really can't stand is that exoticals challenge the hierarchy. We're walking proof that beauty doesn't obey borders, that attraction isn't loyal to one culture, that soft features, caramel skin, and soft hair that curls like a paragraph don't need permission to exist. So instead of dealing with that reality, people try to reclaim you. They try to dilute you down into something familiar so they don't have to feel threatened. It's psychological assimilation. If I can't be you, I'll try to own you. If I can't claim your features on my face, I'll claim your culture for my ego. That's why mixed people are always being asked, "What are you?" Not out of curiosity, but out of strategy. People want to know how far they can stretch your identity to make themselves feel included. But baby, I'm not your inclusion pass. I'm not your visual apology for the privilege you don't want to acknowledge. I'm not your ticket to proximity validation. I'm me, and that should be enough. And don't think this is just an issue in the US. This claiming mess is international. In Brazil, racially ambiguous people get used as mascots for racial democracy, even though the country still has serious race issues. In Asia, mixed models are praised as the new beauty standard, while locals with the same features get shamed. In Europe, the exotical look is trendy, until we speak up about microaggressions, and suddenly it's, well, you're not really one of us. It's exhausting. Everybody wants you until you remind them they can't control you. And that's the real reason identity politics gets messy when it comes to us. Because we weren't built in one box. We weren't shaped by one narrative. And society hates what it can't file neatly under a category. So instead of honoring our complexity, they try to simplify us for comfort. But baby, this face is not a cultural coloring book. You don't get to fill in what you want just because you ran out of options. You can't claim me when it's convenient and cancel me when it's not. I'm not a trend. I'm not a temporary ally. I'm not your guilt relief or your TikTok trophy. I'm a whole being with a whole identity that doesn't need your stamp of approval. I don't just have lighter skin. I have the features, the symmetry, the body, the intelligence, the hair, the full-blown triple threat status. I've been bullied, side-eyed, and treated like I'm the problem in rooms full of unambiguous women who think sisterhood means silence and submission. But baby, I don't owe anybody modesty just to survive your insecurities. My face, hair, and body walks in and shifts the whole atmosphere. Not because I say anything, because my existence forces comparison. And I'm done pretending that's my fault. I'm not the villain because your baby hairs rebel, and my foundation shade sold out because y'all use it. I'm just the proof that you can't keep hiding behind that "we're all the same" lie when your whole spirit starts glitching in my presence. And let's not act like this bias is subtle. It's so obvious even AI caught on. When facial recognition software was tested across different skin tones, darker faces were misidentified at far higher rates than lighter ones. Not because machines are racist, but because they were trained on data that prioritized people who look like me. And somehow, even with the algorithm on my side, I'm still expected to dim my light so somebody else can feel photogenic. Meanwhile, society doesn't just tolerate this, it rewards it. In casting, healthcare, hiring, influencer culture, colorism is the backstage pass. Let's get that clear. They love the ones who are pretty, but not intimidating, palatable, but not polarizing. The ones with just enough blackness to be marketable, but not enough to make other women feel left out. That's why they keep platforming the same 3 light-skinned women with loose curls, watered-down commentary, and facial features soft enough to comfort the competition. That's not representation, babe. That's palette diversity. You're not celebrating range. You're just color coordinating the oppression so it looks prettier on a press release, and then people want to pull the fake unity card. We all face the same struggles. Baby, no we don't. Some of y'all walk into a room and the biggest obstacle you face is finding your seat. I walk in, and suddenly the temperature drops, the volume shifts, and people start having identity crises in real time. I've seen women literally invent problems with me because their confidence collapsed after making eye contact. It's not struggle, it's sabotage disguised as solidarity. If beauty were truly subjective, why do the same skin tones and features keep showing up in every baddie list like it's a slot machine with no diversity setting? If desirability were random, why are lighter-skinned women statistically overrepresented in media, modeling, and music videos, especially the ones with ambiguous, ethnically confusing faces like mine? It's because I represent what y'all tried to erase. And the irony? I never asked to be chosen. I never said I was better. I just showed up. But my beauty hits a nerve that no amount of fake empowerment quotes can soften. That's why I get bullied. That's why I get shade. Not because I did anything, but because I exist as proof that the playing field isn't level, and it never was. So no, I don't believe in fake sisterhood with people who actively try to shrink me. And I won't downplay my beauty to protect women who would happily see me erased if it meant they could feel like the standard for 5 minutes. That's not sisterhood, that's silent warfare. And I'm not clocking out early so you can feel cute on borrowed time. Let's just be honest. Some of you only call out colorism when you're the one being overlooked. But when it's someone like me, ambiguous, beautiful, and fully confident, you suddenly want to talk about humility, tone, and not putting other women down. Baby, I don't have to say a word. Your reflection is already doing the heavy lifting. So here's the truth. Dragging us won't heal you. Mocking us won't make you the standard. And no matter how many think pieces you write or filters you use, reality doesn't change. The mirror will always tell the truth, even when your mouth refuses to. So here's the hypocrisy. Some people lecture about rejecting Eurocentric beauty while quietly straightening and lightening and glossing their way closer to it. As one Essence columnist put it, too many of them hear, "You look better when your hair is straight," like it's gospel. Meanwhile, they praise the Nigerian princess who wears a band-aid better than anyone, as long as she just so happens to have looser curls or lighter skin. Y'all need to go ahead and just admit it. You want to be us. We can see it with our eyes. It's not subtle. It's not symbolic, it's loud, it's visual, and it's giving cosplay with a side of contradiction. Y'all are the biggest hypocrites walking this earth. You're not celebrating range, you're just color coordinating the oppression so it looks prettier on a press release, and then people want to pull the fake unity card. We all face the same struggles. Baby, no, we don't. Some of y'all walk into a room, and the biggest obstacle you face is finding your seat. I walk in, and suddenly the temperature drops, the volume shifts, and people start having identity crises in real time. I've seen women literally invent problems with me because their confidence collapsed after making eye contact. It's not struggle, it's sabotage disguised as solidarity. If beauty were truly subjective, why do the same skin tones and features keep showing up in every baddie list like it's a slot machine with no diversity setting? If desirability were random, why are lighter-skinned women statistically overrepresented in media, modeling, and music videos, especially the ones with ambiguous, ethnically confusing faces like mine? It's because I represent what y'all tried to erase. And the irony? I never asked to be chosen. I never said I was better. I just showed up. But my beauty hits a nerve that no amount of fake empowerment quotes can soften. That's why I get bullied. That's why I get shade. Not because I did anything, but because I exist as proof that the playing field isn't level, and it never was. So, no, I don't believe in fake sisterhood with people who actively try to shrink me, and I won't downplay my beauty to protect women who would happily see me erased if it meant they could feel like the standard for 5 minutes. That's not sisterhood, that's silent warfare. And I'm not clocking out early so you can feel cute on borrowed time. Let's just be honest. Some of you only call out colorism when you're the one being overlooked. But when it's someone like me, ambiguous, beautiful, and fully confident, you suddenly want to talk about humility, tone, and not putting other women down. Baby, I don't have to say a word. Your reflection is already doing the heavy lifting. So here's the truth. Dragging us won't heal you. Mocking us won't make you the standard. And no matter how many think pieces you write or filters you use, reality doesn't change. The mirror will always tell the truth, even when your mouth refuses to. So here's the hypocrisy. Some people lecture about rejecting Eurocentric beauty while quietly straightening and lightening and glossing their way closer to it. And let's talk receipts, since y'all love to gaslight. There was literally a viral sound of one of y'all saying, "This hairstyle makes me look more Puerto Rican." So you admit it, you know what the look is, and you know it's not you. But instead of saying, "I like that look," you wrap it up in fake pro-black rhetoric while morphing into the very image you pretend not to envy. You don't love yourself. You love the idea of yourself if you looked like me. That's not self-love. That's identity cosplay with emotional lace. And we're not fooled. We've been clocked it. Want me to keep going? In the future, unambiguous women are going to have to sit in their insecurities like a crusty lace front marinating in denial because the era of silence is over, and baby, we're calling it out every single day. From TikTok to text threads to YouTube, multiple outlets, multiple creators, multiple truths. And you know what their go-to move is when they get exposed? They cry obsessed. Sis, nobody's obsessed. We're just finally saying the quiet part out loud. You're not the victim. You're the one who threw the rock, and now mad people are describing the shape of your hand. That's like pushing someone and then asking why everyone saw it and is now talking about you. Girl, you got caught in 4K with Ultra HD, and the gaslighting is Olympic level. They love to weaponize fake victimhood to shut down conversation. You know what that's called? Manipulation. Masterclass edition. These women know exactly what they're doing. They're not confused. They're not naive. They're just hoping you are. And let's keep it a buck. They know they're not desired. They know they're not seen as beautiful. They've known. They just don't want anybody else brave enough to say it out loud. Because once the truth is spoken, the spell is broken. Ursula's. Now they either want to pull your hair or report your page. They want to silence you with guilt, gaslighting, or good old-fashioned intimidation. But it's not going to work anymore. So let me tell you a little story real quick. I walk into this coffee shop yesterday, hair freshly washed, curls bouncing like they've got somewhere to be, edges moisturized, confidence sitting at a smooth 110%, minding my glowing business. And boom, trigger sequence activated. 2 unambiguous black women spot me and immediately hit that synchronized bug eye like I just walked in wearing their unresolved trauma. I mean, they locked eyes like someone pulled the fire alarm, and suddenly, poof, they transform into dramatic stage actresses, loudly reminiscing about some random woman with sister locks they allegedly saw hours ago. Hours ago, sis. But now it's breaking news? Now it's urgent? Sure, Wanda. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there sipping my drink, peaceful and moisturized, while they're hosting a full TED Talk on kinky hair care like they earned their PhDs in locology. And I'm thinking, why does this always happen when I show up? Why does hair suddenly become the topic every single time I enter a room? I'll tell you why. Because when an Exotical walks in, she disrupts the delusion. She breaks the mirror they've been screaming, "I'm that girl." My presence alone sends their brains into comparison mode and their mouths into performance mode. And let's be clear, normal, secure people would either give a compliment or keep it pushing. But not these lace-front philosophers. Nope. They start monologuing about someone else's hair to avoid acknowledging mine. Passive aggression in 4D. This is exactly why I make this content, not just to vent, but to validate you. Because if you've ever felt that shift in the room when you walk in looking good without trying, you're not imagining it. You're not paranoid. They feel threatened. And instead of sitting with that discomfort, they start performing. They don't want to say you're pretty, so they pretend to remember someone else who you look better than. They don't want to admit you're what they wish they could be without the surgery, the filters, or the lace. So they use fake conversations, fake confidence, and fake sisterhood to mask the truth. But we see through it. This is exactly why I make this content, to vent my frustrations, validate your experiences, and drag their manipulation tactics into the daylight where everybody can see them. No more silent suffering. No more pretending we don't notice. The performance is over, and the truth is center stage now. So, I just saw that Remy Ma posted a throwback picture of Clarissa Shields, and let me tell you something. They know what looks good and what doesn't. These women know exactly who's beautiful and who's not. Remy Ma's behind would never post a throwback of someone like Tyla, because Tyla clears her by a country mile. Let's be real. You don't see people hyping Remy Ma the way they do Nicki Minaj. And why? Because Remy looks built by a Groupon surgeon and still couldn't buy symmetry. Her whole face card is on a permanent declined status. These women stay clowning each other, calling each other ugly in private, but let someone like Lori Harvey post that same pic of Clarissa Shields, and suddenly, here come the sirens: colorism, racism, white supremacy, beauty standards. Girl, stop. That's not awareness, it's manipulation. They weaponize every term in the book when a pretty girl says what we're all thinking. The truth is, neither Remy nor Clarissa are it. And they know it. Everyone knows it. But instead of keeping it real, they hide behind fake solidarity and use each other as human shields from the truth. And let's not skip over the obvious. If you're so beautiful, why are you constantly buying it? If you had it naturally, you wouldn't need the bundle deals, the face sculpting, the feminine energy TikToks, and the Photoshop overload. The math is not mathing. You're not fooling anybody. You're just hoping the lighting stays soft and the comments stay polite. But baby, we see you, loud and clear. No matter how many exoticals you try to mute, another one pops up like a perfectly arched eyebrow after microblading. You can't silence the truth when it's this fine, this symmetrical, and this fed up. Y'all doing all this extra, writing affirmations on 5 different post-its taped around the mirror like it's gonna fix what genetics didn't. You're chanting mantras and yoga poses, hoping your nose contour will finally sink in. You're blowing your retirement money on surgery and bundles trying to create a face that's already been born. And deep down, you know your man doesn't really want you. He tolerates you. He's settled, and he knows it too. Because one day, somewhere, he's going to see one of us, and he's going to feel that familiar tug in his soul. That, I chose stability, but my desire lives elsewhere moment. And he'll have to choke it down like dry protein powder. He'll pretend he doesn't notice, but the gag is we'll notice him pretending. And it won't stop there, because soon, people are going to start calling you out in real life. Not just online. It's going to be, don't do that, when you give that passive-aggressive stare. Or, we saw that, when you try to throw shade under the table with your little comments and fake support. The whispers are turning into words, and the words are turning into warnings. And here's the math y'all keep ignoring. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the multiracial population grew by 276% in 10 years, from 9 million in 2010 to over 33 million in 2020. That's not a trend, that's a takeover. We're not going anywhere, and we're getting louder, prettier, smarter, and harder to gaslight by the minute. Your little games, the silence, the sabotage, the fake unity, that's going to age like milk in the desert, while videos like these age like fine wine in Beyoncé's hidden cellar. You tried to silence us, but all you did was multiply the movement. So maybe it's your turn to get comfortable being quiet, because your wide mouth is not soothing your insecurity. It's announcing it. You're not silencing us. You're just proving why we started talking in the first place. So here's your notice. The lace has lifted, the truth is moisturized, and your era of unbothered delusion is officially over. And next time I walk into a room, I'd rather hear, "Hey girl, love your natural hair," instead of gossip about someone else's. And if someone does feel insecure, maybe I'll just suggest they polish up their wig instead of their edges. And there you have it. The beauty, the bias, the bizarre coping mechanisms, all laid bare like a bad frontal on a windy day. So the next time someone tries to gaslight you with loud deflections and off-topic hair debates, just smile and walk by like your curls paid the rent, because they did. Mixed race beauty isn't just trending, it's been winning. But more importantly, let this video be your reminder that you don't owe anyone a dull version of yourself to make them comfortable. Keep walking in your truth and let them choke on their own projection. You have survived another dose of unapologetic, exotical content. Stay glowing, stay knowing, stay unbothered, and stay ready.